Can we have international football back, please? I don't want Arsenal back. I was looking forward to this. It's completely ruined my weekend. I'm absolutely gutted with that. So frustrating because, of course, going down to 10 men, it's always a struggle. But I still believe that we should be beating a team like Bournemouth with 10 men, or at least not conceding and grinding out a 0-0 draw, right? Am I wrong for thinking that? If we want to win a Premier League title, surely teams like City and Liverpool, when they were going for the title, and they could well be this season, they wouldn't have lost this game, I don't think. And that is a huge issue. It is. We can't be taken seriously if we're getting 3 red cards in 8 games. We're throwing away games with suicidal passes. What was that from Trossard? And then Kivior as well. Both goals completely avoidable. So frustrating. And that is the unbeaten league run done. And, of course, the invincible season over. Fair play to Bournemouth, though. I do want to give them their credit because, look, Bournemouth are one of those teams that they're so much fun to watch, but you hate to play against them. And they don't always get the result that maybe they deserve. They don't always show up and play this expansive Spanish-esque football. But when it clicks, they're very good. They're a very good side, and they've got some great players. We got absolutely cooked by Lewis Cook, who got man of the match. Evan Nilsson, very impressive up top. He was a nightmare. He was the reason we went down to 10 men. He was through on goal, and Saliba's pulled him down, and it's soft. It's maybe not much contact, but you give the referee and VAR no opportunity to think otherwise. It just had to be a red card. I'm still not sure if it's a 3-game suspension because that's typically violent conduct. I think this might be a 1-game suspension, but even so, that means Saliba will be out for the Liverpool game, which is great. I'm not really sure what to say. I've just got so many thoughts in my head right now. Instantly, I want to talk about Martinelli because he missed such a good chance. I want to talk about Kivior, of course. He's come on and then got subbed off. I mean, that says it all, really. First, let's talk about the red card because a lot of people are asking me if I think it was a red. And yes, look, if that happens against me, if that's Bournemouth today pulling one of our players down, let's say Havertz is through and the exact same thing happens, I'd be saying it has to be a red. So, being fair to the referee and the VAR team, I don't think they could have said anything else. The only thing I would argue is that Ben White potentially could get back. It is pretty much the entire half of the pitch, and Saliba could have potentially still recovered if he let him go. What I'm trying to say is it's not a guaranteed goal-scoring opportunity in some ways because we don't know if Ben White would have caught up. And of course, it is a one-on-one with Raya if he doesn't. So, look, whatever way you go, I'm sitting here not complaining about the red because I don't think we gave the referee a choice. It had to be. Fair play to the ref, actually. He gave a yellow. And I, at the time, thought, fair enough, because some referees would have instantly seen, Arsenal player, red card. And, of course, the VAR team have disagreed. They've said, no, you need to go and check it. The referee was more than likely happy with the yellow because of the distance from the halfway line to the goal. The fact that maybe he did see Ben White. He was already at full pace running in that direction. But I have to say, it's a stupid decision from Saliba. It's a horrible pass from Trossard. Okay, obviously that's no good. But in my opinion, when these things happen, let the player go. What's the worst that can happen? They score. Okay, we're 1-0 down, but we've got 11 players on the pitch. And we go on and win that game 2-1, 3-1, 4-1. I think so. The worst thing you do is bring down the player, go down to 10 men, and then, okay, so they haven't had that chance. But now you're fighting with 10 men against a really good, expansive football team. They play really good stuff. We were always going to struggle. And I just think it's poor decision-making from Saliba. And people forget, he is only 23. He's young. He will learn from this. He, for me, is one of the best centre-backs in world football. And it's moments like this where he will learn. Next time, he will let his man go. I'm sure of it. But in reality, it does come down to Trossard. And for the second time this season, he has let us down. The City red card, and you could argue that Saliba's red card is because of Trossard. The penalty, I mean, terrible pass in this area from Kivior, who came on. Really, really poor pass. gave Raya no chance, and again gave the referee no opportunity to not give a penalty. It was definitely a penalty. It was really well put away. And by the way, the Bournemouth first goal was fantastic from Christie. Really, really good finish. I have no arguments about the decisions really, but we do need to talk about Martinelli. I very openly said multiple times that I don't think Martinelli is at the level required to be our starting left winger, as Saka is our starting right winger, as Havertz is our starting number 9. You have these players that are just dead certain players. They start. Martinelli has had that position for years now, and he's in and out of the team. He's inconsistent. Sometimes he's brilliant. He had a season where he was our top scorer not long ago. But in moments where you need a hero, you need that bit of quality, the ball has fallen to us in their third. It goes over to Martinelli, and it's not the easiest chance ever. I'm fully appreciating the fact that there was still an on-rushing goalkeeper. There was pressure from behind. He still had to put away a relatively difficult opportunity. But for me, that goes out the window in these situations. He has to score there. He has to, because those are the moments where you think Arsenal are a serious team that could win the title this year. Instead, just a minute later, they go down the other end and they make it 1-0. It's a completely different game if Martinelli puts it away. And, you know, I was streaming the game. Thank you to everyone who came out. And I asked the question, would you swap Martinelli for other players of his caliber right now? The one player I mentioned was Gordon. I think Gordon is similar age, similar position, of course. Would you swap Martinelli for Gordon? A lot of people said no. A lot of Arsenal fans, I'm presuming, said no, but a lot of people said yes. And then that question was, okay, you have to agree it now, but would you swap in 2 years' time Gordon, when he's had 2 years to develop, or Martinelli with the 2 years to develop? But you have to make the decision now. And this is where I change my tune. I would take Gordon now in 2 years, if that makes sense. I would take that Gordon that's going to develop in the next 2 years, because I think he's going to be a better player than Martinelli, because Martinelli has this ceiling. It's a high ceiling. He's a Brazilian flair, skillful, brilliant player, right? On his day, he's unplayable, right? But he just isn't hitting. I don't see it. I don't think he's going to hit that ceiling. So for me, I would trade the 2-year plan and take Gordon, because in 2 years, I think Gordon will be one of the best left wingers in the league. He already is on his way. And I just think in moments like that, Trossard probably scores it. Saka probably scores it. Sterling, maybe he would have scored that too. It's Martinelli. And I hate doing this because I do really like him. I do. I think he's such a great player, and he came in with a lot of pressure on him. You know, I remember the summer he joined and we were linked with Wilfried Zaha, for example. Unai Emery said, no, I want him. And obviously he went with Pepe, but he wanted Martinelli as this new young, really exciting player. And he has been good for Arsenal. There's no doubt about it. He has been a great player for us, but I just don't think he's the one. And if you're a title-winning side, you need a first 11 that is almost a dead certain starting team. And I just don't think he is that. Look at the game before. It wasn't a particularly good game before the red card, but we were in control. We were absolutely in control, and I think we would have gone on to win the game. It might not have been a pretty win. It might have been a 1-0, but no real issues at the back. And of course, the red card completely changes that. And if we look at the table now, after 8 games, we're in third, but of course we've got Liverpool and City to play. Chelsea can play and go ahead of us. They've got a much better goal difference at this point. Well, it's not much better, but they're probably going to win their game. They're playing... Oh, no, they're playing Liverpool. Okay, well, look, I'm trying to be positive here because it is so early in the season, but now we're looking at dropping points to City, dropping points to Brighton, dropping points to Bournemouth tonight, our first loss. Each of those games, we've had a red card. We went through... I think it was 2 or 3 seasons ago where it was absolutely carnage. Every game it felt like we were getting a red card. And then we went through 2 seasons where it was much, much, much rarer. And there's a stat going around, and it's true. We've received more red cards this season in 8 games than the last 2 whole seasons combined. So over the space of 76 Premier League games, We got less red cards than we have in 8. And look, okay, the Brighton one you could argue was harsh. Again, you could say the City one was a little bit harsh, but it's just stupid decisions. It's not really that unlucky. It's Rice kicking the ball away. It's Trossard kicking the ball away. It's Trossard giving the ball away again, but then Saliba pulling a man down. It has to stop. It has to. And, you know, we're 2-0 down with 10 minutes to go or 5 minutes to go, whatever, and I'm saying in my chat, do City lose this game? Do Liverpool lose this game, even down to 10 men? And I think the resounding answer was no. We think they grind out the draw there, minimum, and maybe even win it. And that was my prediction. I thought Martinelli would come on, as he did, and potentially win us the game on the counter, and we'd win 1-0. But it didn't happen. And now we're going into a really tough run of games. I need to know if Saliba's getting a 1-game or a 3-game suspension, because, look, we can do without him for a game. Yes, it sucks. It's Liverpool. But I think we'll be okay. We can put Ben White in there and maybe Timber plays right back if he's fit, okay? So Saliba plays against Shakhtar. He misses Liverpool. But if he's back for Newcastle at St. James's Park, Inter away as well, Chelsea, obviously a very important game with how they're doing so far this season. It's vitally important that we win these games. We'll win against Shakhtar. I'm fairly confident of that. And I'm really excited to see more of Nwaneri. Maybe Lewis Skelly will get in there, and seeing Sterling out on the left side, because there's no way Trossard starts for me. The Liverpool game is now an absolute must-win, whereas before I feel like, you know, a draw wouldn't have been a bad result, but we can beat them at the Emirates without Saliba. We can. Preston away, winnable. Newcastle away, who knows what kind of Newcastle are going to show up. They've been so weird this season. Some really, really tough games. And look, it is our first loss. It is okay. It happens. Arteta will be saying that exact thing. We did this to ourselves. I don't think it's the end of the world. It's so early in the season. Other teams will lose. Other teams will have injuries, suspensions. It's going to happen. We just need to be there and improve and take advantage of when they drop points, as they're going to take advantage of us dropping points. But thank you for watching another episode of Operation Arsenal. I'll be live again in the near future for another Arsenal game. Make sure you check it out. And I'll see you on Monday for another episode of the Arsenal Career Mode.